Man, first and foremost, I want to thank you for coming on the platform. It's definitely an honor. I appreciate you taking out the time to, share a little bit of your story with us. So, for the viewers that may not recognize you, let them know who you are and definitely where you're from.
Okay, thanks for having me. Sorry, last week it didn't work out, but I'm glad we are doing it now. I'm happy to be here. My name is Vishnu Vaka. I'm a stand-up comedian. I've been performing all over America so far. Uh, I'm happy to have to have this venue to be here and speak to you, man. Tay, right? Tay, did I say it
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Taye,
Tay,
Taye, like a tie
yeah,
around your neck. Yeah,
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 Tay.
yeah, most definitely. Man, I got to check out some of your videos on YouTube. Hilarious. I seen you recently. You was on the podcast with Godfrey. That was real cool. So I kind of want to ask you from like, when did you realize that you had a passion for making people laugh?
That was my go-to since I was a kid. I moved a lot of schools, a lot of places. I went to places where I don't speak the language. And when you don't speak the language, you're kind of lost. But then for some reason, humor still comes through. Even if the language is not there, you can still like make jokes. And that's what I realized. That's what helped me make friends, and that's what makes me happy. So that's what I do.
Oh, okay, cool, cool, man. I could definitely relate to moving around a lot, man. When I was younger, I went to like 4 or 5 different high schools. I hated moving, but I think it kind of
Yeah.
it instills something in me because I'm a traveler now. I've been to 70 countries around the world, so I developed an ability to make friends and read
Yeah.
people and interact with people. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep. That's me, man. Like, and I changed so many schools now. I can't sit still in one place. That's one another reason I'm a stand-up comedian. I get to travel and meet new people. I get bored with the same surroundings and same people.
Right, that's amazing. You get to do what you love and travel and make money, make people laugh. That's just like what
Yeah,
more can you ask for?
I
Now I
know.
can ask you this. Now you,
Yeah, good, good.
yeah, yeah. So let me see. Okay, now I was gonna ask you this. Now you have like an accent, or did you move to the U.S.? Was you living somewhere else? If you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I moved to US when I was in my when I finished my 10th grade. I had my accent at the time. I still have it. I tried to change it a few times. It just never felt authentic for me. I just liked being myself. I didn't want to change myself to be who I am not. And people seem to understand me fine, so I don't care anymore about my accent. It's I'm cool with my accent. I like it.
Right, right. No, I mean to me that's authentic, like you say, because when you doing your comedy, it's real, it's genuine. If you sounded like the average American, you know what I'm saying, you might not have the same performance. So that's a good thing, and that's something that the viewers can take note of. Being yourself can go a very very long way, and I'm sure it definitely built a lot of character and helped you, construct your artwork.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate you saying that, man. Like moving to America initially, I was completely lost, and the thing that I was also trying to mention when I was in Godfrey is the amount of like disinformation there is about like people from Asia or India or like even for people from I can't speak for you, but like I'm sure you noticed like the disinformation that is spread about us in America is crazy. Like a lot of things that that Dante and Godfrey are talking about. I'm like, dude, those are like 1960s, 70s. Like people moved on and advanced, and that's what I like. And I keep getting like people telling me what my culture is and what who I am, and I'm like, I know my culture. I know who I am. Like you don't have to tell me who I am. My people, like they try to make it look like your people are savages, your people have no culture, and I'm like, no dude, we have one of the greatest cultures in the world at the time, and it was ruined by white people that came to our country and basically foreign invaders, and now you turn around and tell us that we are backward, like while we're trying to come back up. And that's, that's something that really bothers me. And I did not expect that from Godfrey, because I Godfrey traveled a lot around the world, and I he knows a lot too. And so I was kind of surprised and taken aback, at least when Dante was accusing all Indian people of being certain way. And I'm like, no, you got it so wrong. You search for hate, you will find hate. And it's up to you what you look for, right? I mean, I'm bringing that
Yeah,
up. I know you saw that, and you came from that podcast, and that's when you reached out to me, right? Yeah,
yeah, definitely. I appreciate you touching on that because I could relate. Because like I'm visiting Africa right now, so I've
yeah,
been to maybe 20 African countries. So I
yeah,
think as Americans or people that have lived in America for a long time, we have that perspective that anything outside of America is less
yes,
than or worse
yeah,
than. When a lot
yeah.
of times that's not the case.
That's
Because like you said on the podcast, they had a list of the most racist countries, and none of them was European countries. None of them was
yeah,
white countries. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and most of the countries that were there are the people that were oppressed by the European countries. That's the weird part. Like, and you destroy their education, you destroy their everything they have, and then turn around and call them racist because they're ignorant. Like, there's a difference between ignorance and being pure evil racist. There are people ignorant and are racist because they're basically believing what is fed to them. And that is ignorance, and we need to correct that in terms of like teaching them who, like, like for example, like in India, like, one of the things I was telling about Dante, I was talking about to Dante and Godfrey is, like, when he says all Indian people are racist, I'm like, 80% of Indian people never interact with black people. They don't know what black people are. And they are literally, if they were to say something or do something, or not even do, just say something racist, because they're not interacting, they're reflecting on what is being fed to them. That the Western media, that is what everywhere, and that is what is like. When I moved to America, basically, literally, what was I told by the media, by the people around me, who's like, they were like, stay away from black neighborhoods, they're dangerous. And then I talked to my Indian people, and they're like, not only stay away from black neighborhoods, stay away from white people, don't piss them off, because those people are evil too. So, like, most of the Indian people in America are just like that. Like, they're like, okay, we're not going to fuck with your shit. I don't know. We don't know what is going on here. We came here. We're going to make our lives, and they're promising us freedom, and they're saying if we work hard, we it will you will make it happen. Then let's make it happen. And that kind of a, what do you call, like, like, they don't want to get involved, and which makes them look racist. Like, ignoring racism is also racism. Not stepping up and speaking against it is also supporting racism. They say, like, silence is half agreement. When you don't speak up and say something is wrong, even if you were to silent and you think you're, but you being silent, you're half agreeing with them. And that is what I wanted to change. That is why I kept going back. I will go back again to Godfrey and do it, because you know a lot of people are not aware of what happened to black people in America. It's really sad that people are not aware, and that is what I want to, like, because when I came here, I was thinking about, oh my god, like, Indian people, we were taken advantage of, we were ruled over, they stole our shit. And then I come here and I look at black people, I was like, oh my god, what the fuck did you guys do to these people? Like, you literally, like, treated them like animals. Like, we were better off. It's like, literally, like, for me, when I moved to America, that was jaw dropping. I was like, the country that speaks loudest about freedom, the country that claims to the beacon of freedom, like saving the entire world, has is still oppressing people. The system is still, like, there is reluctance to change the system, reluctance to provide the facilities to black neighborhoods or inner cities. Why are we doing that? Why don't we, why the hypocrisy? you know Anyways, I mean, I keep going on this for a long time, so you might want to
No,
ask
no,
me.
it's all good because you sharing some powerful information because I travel a lot, so I can relate to what you're saying. So when I grew up in America, I learned about Native Americans and black people in slavery. But then when I traveled to Brazil, Europeans did the same thing there. When I traveled to
Yeah,
Mexico, when I traveled to the Philippines, when I traveled to India, when I
yeah,
traveled to all around the world, Australia, it's the same exact story. And the only thing is like, okay, they may say, okay, like for example, I lived in South Africa for a year, right?
yeah,
So the Europeans, they have the gold, they have the diamonds, they have the land, but they only maybe 10% of the population. The
yeah,
other 90% is all non-European people, but
yeah,
they're all divided. They'll say, okay, well, you black, you African, you Zulu, you Nigerian, you
yeah,
Indian, you got
yeah.
straight hair, you got curly hair.
That is what I don't get. Like, we are fighting among ourselves, and while the white man is like robbing from us. you know the minority groups are like, I mean, we're really not minorities. It's just like, for example, South Africa is actually an African country. But because we're not united, we're other people, like Dante was like, how can 100,000 people rule all of the India? I was like, 100,000 people are ruling entire Africa too. It's the same fucking island, right? Like, that. And how are they ruling? Like, just like how we're doing right now, like like in that podcast we were fighting instead of like coming together. Like, you were accusing me of. And I was trying to teach you, like, that is not how it is. Like, people need to be educated. That is a different issue. Racism can be ended by educating people, like teaching people who is what. Like, a lot of times when you don't know someone, you don't relate to them, you don't feel their pain. you know and the best thing we can do, being in America, like being people of all faiths and all religions, and like, all kinds of people being here, is educate each other, that we could work together, because the synergies are same. Every religion, what are we doing? Every religion is basically, literally, is trying to give hope to its followers. Like, like, I need hope so I can continue. Like, there is justice. I want to believe there is justice. I want to believe there is fairness. And even if it's not here, I want to believe that it is somewhere else, that I'll get it. That is what we are trying to do, right, all of us. And and instead of, like, talking to each other, like, each one is a philosophy. Like, Islam is a philosophy, Christianity is a philosophy, and Hinduism, we got hundreds of philosophies, ideas. Why don't we put them all together and figure out and follow whatever the philosophy that attracts you? Just because you follow something doesn't mean you need to go kill other people. you know that's what I don't get. And that's why when British came to India, the first thing they did is destroy our education. They took it down. They destroyed our education and denied it to our people, and that's why they were able to subjugate us. And I think that's what they did to Africa too. They destroyed the early, ancient culture, ancient artifacts, everything that is African. They were destroyed it, and then they tried to import their theories, their ideas, and then divided people based on that. Anyway, I keep going on the rants. I'm sorry.